Hi friends, new and old. Welcome back to the channel. It's your friend Chip, and today I've got another My Little Pony rehairing video for you. This time, our second victim is this one. This is G1 Big Brother Steamer, and you know Steamer. He's had quite the adventure. He looks a lot better today than he did when we first originally found him. If you don't know Steamer, this is what he looked like before. So we've got him cleaned up. He's lost his tail, and we're going to have to rehair him. He doesn't normally have this dingy, like light rust color. This should be pink. It's actually fading pink. It has been stained. And then he's got this really nice green streak here in the front. His tail should be all pink. So I've got just the supplies to fix him right up. I've been over to Dolly Hair, and I picked up My Little Pony Pink Sugar for the pink. And I picked up this one, which is My Little Pony Poison Ivy for the green. And I'd say that's pretty close. Pretty close. About as close as we're going to get. And this, well, this used to be this. So we've got our two hair colors. I've already taken some pictures of the rooting pattern here. One thing we can see is that this side is all the pink, and the green streak is only on this side of the rooting pattern. So we only have to worry about it in that one little spot there. What I'm going to do just to be helpful is make a couple marks here. And his hair's really going in the wrong direction. So just before we cut it all off, and then probably once we do cut it off, I'm just going to take a pencil and mark right there and mark right there. So I kind of have an idea. First thing we have to do is remove the head. So I've already removed his head once when we did a deep clean and had to remove his tail. So his body can sit over there for now. Now that we've got the head off, we need to remove all this nasty hair and then start to pull all the hair that's in here out from the inside. So, all right, so let's grab our scissors and let's cut all of this off. Oh wait, don't I have some kind of paper towel to put down first? So we can catch all of this. And let's get it off of here. That's about as much as these scissors can do. We do have some smaller scissors. These should help us just kind of take it down a little bit further. Alright, last time I found this tool to be quite useful. Let's see if it is again. Well, we're pulling some out. Oh, here we go. Oh, we pulled out some of the green. All right, I'll remove all of this and we'll be back.
Yay!
Alright, and we've got all of the hair taken out of there. And we can even see some of these pieces here have a really bright pink to them. So we can see that original pink that was part of the fading pink. Really nice to see, and it is quite close to what we have over here in this bag. So the next thing that we're going to have to do is separate the hair out of that bag and get it cut to the right size, and then we can start using our rehairing tool and refilling these plugs. Alright, so since we only have a small portion to do with the green, I think we're going to do the green first, and then when we open the pink, we'll be using the pink for the rest of the head as well as the tail. So let's get started with the green. Ooh. Look how pretty that is. Love it. So we don't need that much. The last time I did this, I took a chunk of this and then cut it in half, and then that was kind of the length that I went with because that also gets folded in half. So then it ends up being about this long. And that's good for us to kind of trim up from there. So let's go ahead and unfold this and get ourselves a chunk of this. This is always the scariest part. I'm not very good at taking a chunk of this out of here and not making a mess. Thinking, no, because we're gonna have to cut it in half. So maybe about this much. This is where it always gets nasty. Does it do that to you guys? Do I just take it out of here wrong? It's holding on to the very last second. Alright, that should be enough of this green, I would think. Alright, so we're going to fold it in half and we're going to cut it right here. And this is the hair that we're going to use to rehair him from. Here's the rehairing tool, and the needle is already inserted in there for us, ready to go. So on the head, I put pencil marks on it, which is this bottom mark and then this upper mark here. That was where the green was on his head. But if we look, there's actually these indentations, these grooves right here. And I believe these two grooves indicate where along this pattern those green hairs should be. So it was pretty close, like if it's done by a machine, you know? Just like pretty close to the line. A little wobbly there, but pretty close. I mean, this one went way down, way down. You see that? Like three pieces of hair farther down than it should have. Crazy. But anyways, I think we're going to go ahead and put the green in from this mark to this mark, just to follow that pattern. So let's go ahead and get started on putting these in. The first thing we got to do is grab a little bit of hair here. Guessing it's coming from the back here a little bit easier. There we go. So we've got a little bit like this. And we take this little tool. And see, I didn't grab enough of it for me to say, good enough. There we go. Now that's good enough. And then we're going to put it in right at that one. Right here. Right. Okay. And ta-da! First bit of green. Goodness. Alright. Plug number 2. Nope, definitely didn't get enough of that. Nope. 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 When it does that. Alright, good enough. Alright, and the next one. This one. Right here. Alright, 2 down. Alright. Let's try this again. This is the hardest part, is being able to get all of this in the needle. It's kind of a pain. There we go. That's pretty good. Right, into the next one. That one's right here. Alright, and I'm just going to continue this down to this line on this side of the head, and then we'll be back. Alright, and our green streak is in, so now all we have to do is do all the pink. Here's our pink. Almost feels crimped or something. It's not, but it feels a little rougher than the green. Alright, let's get started. We're going to work on the very front and work our way back into this section of green here. Then let's put it on the needle. Definitely not getting enough of it. Oh. I could feel that that wasn't enough. That feels good. Okay, I mean, there's a handful that didn't make it, but it's alright. And let's go ahead and shove that right on the first one. Oof. A few of those extra ones out. And one done. And let's see if we can't push it in that second hole there. It almost feels like there isn't a hole there, but there is. So I'll put it in there. Oh, that thing. There we go. Right into the next one. Ooh. There we go. Alright, and I'll continue this and we'll be back. Alright, and there we go. All re-haired. This took so long. This took me about 2 hours to do. That is crazy, but it feels so good. All right, way, way, way better. Now, interesting thing is, all of the hair that was in here ended up going on the head, so I don't have any for the tail. So I'm gonna have to order another one of these. So there'll be there'll be a moment between this and the tail, but let's go ahead and get the glue into the head, so that way we have that setting. So we're just going to use this fabric tack glue and splurp that down in here. Get it all over in there. And then I've got this little paintbrush over here that I've been using. I just kind of smush it around in here. Make sure it's all over everything. Alright, now the glue's down in there, so we'll let this sit and dry, and we'll wait for the hair for the tail to come in. Alright, so now we just have to put the tail in here for him. And I've got another hair bag here of pink sugar from Dolly Hair so that we can do the tail, because all the hair that I bought did the mane. There we go. Alright, so we're just going to want to undo this part, cut it in half, and then go from there. This is like hooked into the hair. Okay. Alright, so let's cut this in half. No. Alright, so now I've got my piece of hair, and we're going to feed it through. And I've got this piece of plastic that's for a, what do you call it? One of those weed whackers. And I didn't have any wire, so this actually worked out really well. to do this. So if you're ever in a bind and you don't have any wire and you have to rehair a My Little Pony, you can use the plastic string from your weed whacker. All right, let me see if I can get this in here. Okay, so now I got a hold of it. And then we just pull it right on through. So then it pulls the tail into the body. Ugh. Okay, and now that it's in, now we've got to put our zip ties on it. Alright, so I don't think this is going on right. I think it goes in this way. Oop. Go ahead and get that out of here. Go. Trim that. And then we'll take another one. And then tighten it on that way. And that'll help so our tail stays in and we don't end up with any more tail rust. And we should be able to just pull this right back. And now we've got a tail. A little bit long, but that's all right. We can fix it. Trim it right up. Go ahead and put his head back on. There we go. All right, so we just have to do a little bit of styling for him and he'll be good to go. I have his hat here. His hat was misshapen. It was squished this way. So I boiled up some water, dropped this in there, let it hang out for a little bit, and then I stuck it in some ice water and brought it back to life. So that way we can have him wear his little conductor's hat and he'll be all set. He'll be restored. Look at that. Oh my gosh. All right, so I'm just going to trim his hair a little bit, put a curler in the tail, and then wrap his hair around his neck here a little bit so that it gives us that shape. And then we'll check on him after he's sat overnight with some curlers and stuff to get his hair all styled and ready to go. Look at how cool he is. Oh my gosh, he turned out so good. So good compared to what it did look like. All right, and here he is all styled. And we just have to take the rubber bands and the curler and the paper towels out of his hair. There we go. His tail turned out pretty good. There we go. His forelock turned out pretty good. I don't know if I'll trim it up a little bit. I think I'll probably trim it up a little so it's not so long. And then his mane. We can get it all out from underneath his neck. There we go. So I believe this is probably a little long. We would probably want to trim that up just a little bit so it's not so long. I left it a little long just to make sure that I had enough. And then I think I'm going to have to trim this up a little bit. And then he should be good to go. We can try on his helmet. Alright, there we go. I think that feels a little bit better to me. Just a little bit shorter. I think he turned out so good. We saved him. His hair was awful. I mean, you remember what he looked like over here. So much better. So much better. And we do have his little hat. And I soaked that in hot water so that way it would come back to its original shape. It had been misshapen from being stuck in a box for a really long time. Look at how cool he is. There we go. All right, we restored Steamer, rehaired him and cleaned him up, and he is good as new. Such a fun process. So glad I learned how to rehair because he looks so good and we were able to save him. The last one of my friend's childhood My Little Pony collection, cleaned and restored. Well, thanks so much for hanging out and for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up, comment your thoughts and opinions down below. Don't forget to hit the bell notification so you don't miss the next thing we do with My Little Pony. And if we aren't friends yet, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and stick around, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!